Today we'll be looking at why a good God would allow suffering and the atheist response to this question.
But atheists are usually the ones asking the question, because your religion makes claims on the topic that don't seem to fit the evidence. You're the one who should be answering the question, not atheists. Let's do this.
BionicDance's YouTube channel.
Greetings, fellow space travelers. BionicDance here. A triple-omni god is supposed to be aware of all suffering, is caring enough to want to stop it, and has the power to do so. Except that he obviously doesn't, which would suggest that the god as described doesn't exist, if any god exists at all.
The problem of suffering and evil is not a problem only for the Christian. Every worldview must offer up an answer, even atheism.
They always make this mistake. Atheism is not a worldview. It's the absence of belief in God. It's not our fault that your religion comes with a double-wide buttload of rules that tell you how to behave. Atheism doesn't have that kind of hold on our lives. A life without a God allows the freedom to adopt any secular worldview at all, and is thus not a worldview unto itself. I mean, I've met atheist flat earthers. How fucked up is that? Perhaps the most common atheist view on suffering is, that's just how it is. But that's not mandated by having no belief in any gods. Atheism is not a religion.
If any worldview is going to successfully tackle this question, they need to answer it in two ways. First, is the answer to suffering logically consistent? And second, is the answer emotionally compelling?
Oh, bullshit. The answer doesn't have to be emotionally compelling. It may turn out that the answer to why there's suffering really, really sucks and you don't like it at all. I mean, it's suffering. What did you expect? But as I said, maybe that's just how it is and you've got to learn to cope.
After all, who wants logic when the heart is broken?
Who wants logic when the heart is broken?
He just told us to deny the truth if it makes us cranky. It doesn't matter who wants logic. Your need for an emotional binky doesn't override reality. Come on, kiddo. Man up and solve your problems instead of running from them.
Many atheists turned away from God because they couldn't believe that a good God would create a world with so much evil and suffering. But Richard Dawkins just stated that as an atheist, there is no such thing as good or evil, nothing but pitiless indifference.
Yeah, he just quoted Richard Dawkins in a segment I cut out because it was really, really long. Seriously, he took forever and a half to read it. But if you look at the quote, yes, Dawkins says that there is suffering in the world, and he says we don't need evil for it to happen. Pain and misery don't have to come from evil. Your life can suck ass through a crazy straw simply because of unfortunate circumstances. And that is what Dawkins was getting at in his quote. So Spanky here not only strawmans Richard Dawkins by leaving out suffering after quoting him, mentioning only good and evil, but he also pretends that Dawkins represents all atheists, including those who left religion because it seemed like God was either breaking his promises or wasn't there.
Okay, atheism, you can't have it both ways. You can't say on the one hand that evil really doesn't exist, and then on the other hand, say that God's a moral monster because there's so much evil in the world.
Again, Skippy has moved the goalpost from suffering to evil, and as I pointed out, suffering doesn't need evil to happen. And I can say God is a moral monster without having to say he's real. Darth Vader isn't exactly the nicest guy to ever grace the galaxy far, far away with his presence, but I don't have to think he's real to say so. I have no reason to think your God is any less fictional than Anakin Skywalker, and I can still say he's an asshole. That's not trying to have it both ways. This is Spanky here being dishonest and not understanding the other side's arguments.
But is the answer emotionally compelling? Again, the answer is no. And look, this last point is a hard pill to swallow. Atheism doesn't provide humanity with any sense of ultimate justice.
And that might just be tough shit. Theists always seem to be after these guarantees that they won't be screwed over, that life has meaning and purpose beyond what they've made for themselves, that those who've wronged them will pay for their misdeeds. It never seems to occur to them that those they've wronged will want their revenge too. If they're right, nobody's getting out of this shit unscathed. It's childish, it's immature, it's that need for a religious binky again, a parent figure who'll take care of them, who'll make it all better, whether such a creature exists or not.
Atheism doesn't seem to make any sense of the world around us. I mean, humans desire justice. We know that real evil and real good exists.
Yes, we want justice, and we might not get it. And no, we don't know that good and evil exist. We know that there are nice people and there are assholes. We know fortunate and unfortunate things happen. What we don't see is the light side and dark side of the force. Stop using the word evil. That's not a concept most secular people believe in, and they'd only use the word metaphorically.
And if there really isn't true purpose to our lives, then why do millions of humans care about finding purpose?
Gee, I don't know. Maybe because otherwise they'd be really fucking bored?
If it's true that our DNA neither knows nor cares, then what prompts our desire to know and to care?
Survival. Knowing and caring are tools that aid in that course. Our DNA has one ultimate purpose: to propagate itself. All the rest is just an instrument for or a side effect of that natural drive. Just another part of the behavior of the universe, no God required.
My atheist friends, hear me out. Many of you, for deep personal reasons, slammed the door of Christianity and have never looked back.
And some of us were never Christian to begin with. The hubris on this guy, thinking Christianity is the only possibility. And I'm not your atheist friend. You don't even know me.
And I gotta say, I don't judge you for it. The problem of evil is a big freaking problem. And in a season of pain, it's hard to understand why a good God would allow suffering. But not believing in God doesn't take the pain away.
And it's not supposed to. How about you try proving your God is real instead of making these appeals to emotion? How about you show us how you can still believe in that triple-omni claim about God's nature despite it being obviously untrue? In fact, you know what might keep believers on board? Admitting that, yeah, God can fuck up once in a while. That makes the problem of evil go right the fuck away. But insisting on this perfect and just God, that's what gets you into trouble.
But if atheism is true, there's no real evil. There's no real good. Now, is that the best explanation for the world that we see around us?
Yeah. And even if it's not the best, religion is much further down the crappier side of the spectrum. Until next time, fellow space travelers, this is BionicDance saying don't run on automatic. Instead, please think. You're still here? It's over. Rate the video, subscribe, and close the window. Go.